when you want a job. These are not things that you do.
Who cares if he's wearing a Kunta Kinte t-shirt? Like, is our original sin in this country slavery, yes or no? Is that the reason that 31 of the 32 owners are white, yes or no? Because of the power structure, yes or no? Yes, of course it is. That's the very thing that's related to the reason Kaepernick was protesting in the first place. So what if he shows up with the Kunta Kinte t-shirt?
What he wanted was transparency, for people to see the full workout, to see the full Colin Kaepernick. Again, you mentioned obviously Max is going to get in here. Like I said, I'm in the streets. Max almost seems blacker than you, Stephen A.
Well, now tuned in to the Dark Times channel.
So here we go again, back with another one. Welcome back to the Dark Times channel. And so, as you all may know by now, Max Kellerman, formerly with ESPN, formerly teamed up with Stephen A. Smith on ESPN.
I'm only speaking about recreational use of marijuana. I think it's abhorrent. I think it's ridiculous, and I don't support it at all in terms of the NBA legalizing it. I don't believe that a paying customer should take money out of their hard-earned money out of their pockets to patronize an NBA product, to walk to a game and see some dudes walking up courtside high. I don't believe that.
This is not about showing up to the game high. No one is saying the players should be high when they play. Because there are examples of players who've shown up high, that's a reason to outlaw recreational use on someone's own time. It's absurd on its face.
And he's back with ESPN again, and he's doing boxing. He's covering boxing.
So if you were speaking to a new fan of boxing, let's say a 25-year-old, doesn't have any history of boxing whatsoever, how would you sell this fight to them?
I mean, I would start by telling them, as I've often done, I'd ask them what their favorite sport is.
Basketball.
No, it's not. It's boxing. I will prove it to you in 30 seconds. If you come to a street corner, and on one corner a guy's playing basketball, two guys are having a pickup game of basketball, and on another they're playing stickball, and on this corner it's flag football, or the guy's putting a golf ball, and on the fourth corner there's a fight, where's the crowd? It's always the fight.
And Max Kellerman has always had the gift of making complex arguments or complex questions seem real simple and having really good analogies for complex questions, which is why a lot of people thought that he was the perfect personality for First Take. But Stephen A. Smith thought otherwise.
I got upset because he's going to be calling the Terrence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez fight in September. Max Kellerman. I'm upset about Max Kellerman. I have nothing against Max Kellerman. I didn't want to work with him on First Take anymore. That's all. I didn't think we were good partners for a debate show. If we were doing boxing, if we were doing Sports Center or something like that, nothing. No problem. For a 2-hour daily debate show, I didn't think we worked any longer. That's all.
And we have a lot of people out here speculating that that's not the real reason. Because if you know Max Kellerman, and I've been following Max Kellerman since his days where he was doing call-ins on his radio show in which he was just talking boxing.
I stated that Pernell Whitaker was the best fighter in the world pound for pound in 1989 on my very first show. A lot of people disagreed with me. A lot of people said Tyson back then. I maintained it was Whitaker. And I think history has proven that it was Whitaker. Then for the last 6 years, I've always said it has been Pernell Whitaker. And finally, on the last episode of my 6th year, I said that it was the end of an era. Whitaker is 2, and Roy Jones is now the best fighter pound for pound in the world. Since last week when I said that, a lot of people have come up to me, Max, you really think Roy Jones is the best already? Who's he beaten? Only James Toney and Bernard Hopkins. Whitaker's wiped out 5 divisions, and they're right. In terms of their resumes, Pernell Whitaker is already a Hall of Famer, and beyond Hall of Famer, he's already in Bill James, I think in his Baseball Abstract, he talks about Definition A Hall of Famer, Definition B Hall of Famer, Definition C. Definition A being one of the best players, he's talking about baseball, ever. Definition B being at his position among the best players ever. So you can apply that same thing to boxing. Definition A Hall of Famer, you can make a case that he's the best fighter ever. Definition B, he's one of the best in his division of all time, C, D, and so forth. Pernell Whitaker is a Definition A Hall of Famer. You can make an argument that he's the greatest fighter who ever lived, certainly the most unbeatable fighter who ever lived. There's no fighter in the history of boxing who had most of it, or at least 75%. I can't imagine Whitaker has more than 25% of the significant fights total in his career coming up. In other words, most of his significant fights, Whitaker that is, have already occurred, and Whitaker has yet to be challenged against the likes of McGirt, Chavez, and Azuma Nelson, and even a guy like Vasquez, so much bigger than Whitaker. And Whitaker has yet to be pushed to the limit. The same cannot be said for Sugar Ray Robinson, for Muhammad Ali, for Sugar Ray Leonard, for Willie Pep. All those fighters, by the time they had their most significant fights, they've been pushed to the limits. In fact, all of them have been beaten. The same cannot be said about Pernell Whitaker. In his most significant fights of his career, and he's had most of them already, he's never been beaten. Having said all of that, and Roy Jones, you can't say that about yet because he hasn't accomplished enough in his career thus far. But pound for pound is not about who's accomplished more, who's proven himself more, or anything like that. Pound for pound is simply about who is the best fighter in the world right now. And right now, Roy Jones is the best fighter in the world. And I'm a Pernell Whitaker fan. And I'm saying Roy Jones is the best fighter in the world right now.
And I learned a lot from Max Kellerman. And so if you know anything about Max Kellerman can not only break down the sport of boxing, which he's been a part of probably the majority of his life, he can break down any sport.
I didn't like it. You weren't an athlete, and you weren't a journalist. And the absence of the two components left people wondering, why should we listen to you? It was like I was damn near doing the show by myself because we were oceans apart in terms of cachet.
But Stephen A. Smith, a lot of people are speculating that he couldn't deal with being debated by somebody that quite possibly could have been a little bit better than him at debating. And not only debating, but also resonating within his own community.
What he wanted was transparency, for people to see the full workout, to see the full Colin Kaepernick. Again, you mentioned obviously Max is going to get in here. Like I said, I'm in the streets. Max almost seems blacker than you, Stephen A. with what he's coming, with his commentary.
And so a lot of people are saying that interview with Terrell Owens was the straw that broke the camel's back. And so now we fast forward into 2025, and Max Kellerman is back, and he's back talking boxing.
With any fighter, when you talk about their defense, the question is not, can they be hit with a shot? You take punches. Everyone, the greatest defensive fighters ever get hit. Pernell Whitaker, Willie Pep, Floyd Mayweather, they all get hit. The question is, can you hit them with combinations? And both guys are hard to hit. With the two-piece, hard to hit.
And it's a good thing to see. And he looks healthy, he looks happy, he looks like he didn't age a bit in comparison to Stephen A. Smith, who's out here on pretty much every major network. Every time you turn around, he's on somebody else's platform, whether it be Fox News, CNN, his own channel, ESPN, boxing, MMA, he's on everything. And so he's probably running himself ragged in comparison to Max Kellerman, who I said looks like he hasn't aged a bit. And if I had to guess, I would bet he probably doesn't regret the last couple of years of his life, being able to spend time with his wife, spend time with his family, and probably reassess some things. And he looks like he's in a good place, and it's good to see him back. It's good to see him back talking boxing again. He should have never left. And like a lot of people, I'm looking forward to the Terrence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez fight coming up here pretty soon, and it's going to be good to see Max Kellerman calling the fight. And I'm going to go ahead and post a link to the interview because Max Kellerman really hypes up the fight. He's got a good way of kind of getting people excited about the fight. And if you're not a boxing fan, he's got a good way of breaking it down and letting you know the significance of a fight between the Terrence Crawford and the Canelo Alvarez. And so I'm going to go ahead and post a link in the description. And if you enjoyed this video, go ahead and hit the like button for me. And if you're not new to the channel and you've been enjoying the content so far on this channel, make sure you guys go ahead and hit that subscribe button for me. And as usual, peace, chaos.